One of the things that I love doing is escape rooms. The idea is that you're locked in a themed room for an hour and then have to solve various clues and puzzles to escape, all for the fun of it. It seems for the past couple of months, we've all been locked in our own escape rooms, namely our homes. And ironically, the best way to ensure escape in the future is to make no break for freedom in the present. I imagine that for some of us, there has been a longing within ourselves to be free. To be free from those same four walls. To be free to work and to play. To be free to return to normality. The restrictions on our freedom seem to inhibit us, to frustrate us, and even upset us. The reality is, though, that even in normality, whatever that was and will be, our freedom has been and will be restricted. Without an aeroplane, we don't have the freedom to fly with the birds through the sky. Without a submarine, we don't have the freedom to swim with the fish at the depths of the ocean. But then the freedom that Christ speaks about in the Bible was never about liberty to fulfill all our desires and comforts. Instead, it is about not having all our desires and comforts fulfilled, but still having a free heart, a free mind, and a free spirit. The Apostle Paul was hugely influential in the early church, and he is traditionally attributed as the writer of nearly half of the books of the New Testament. He knew much about what it meant to be in lockdown, or more to the point, locked up. It is estimated that for about 5 years of his ministry, Paul was under arrest. Half of this in an actual prison cell, and the remainder under house arrest or under the control of a Roman soldier. As one who knew what it means to be physically restricted, Paul wrote these words to the church in Galatia. It is absolutely clear that God has called you to a free life. Just make sure that you don't use your freedom as an excuse to do whatever you want to do and destroy your freedom. Rather, use your freedom to serve one another in love. That's how freedom grows. For everything we know about God's word is summed up in a single sentence. Love others as you love yourself. That's an act of true freedom. There it is. To love and to be loved is to be free. For when we can truly rest, knowing we are loved and have the capacity to love, the chains of whatever physical or mental or social restrictions are placed upon us are released. No, not the restrictions themselves, but instead the power that they have to enslave us. We can be free, first and foremost, because we are loved and redeemed by the Creator of heaven and earth. Whatever the world tries to chain us with is not as strong as the God who releases us to be the people he has created us to be. But so often, although we may have heard it many times before, we still return to those chains. We return to the chains of other people's opinions, to low self-worth, to unbearable anxiety. Now, coming back to the idea of the escape room, of course, to comply with health and safety, you aren't actually locked in the room and can walk out at any point if you choose to. But that's not the point. But the point of the freedom that Christ offers is that you really are meant to be free. And as soon as you recognise the freedom that comes from Christ, you can walk right out of those chains which may enslave you. There are so many things that perhaps you long to be free from. But I think a common prison, especially at the moment, is the prison of fear. Now, an awareness of danger saves lives. There's a reason why little children aren't allowed near roads or fires or knives. They don't know the harm they can cause. As we grow in our life experience, we recognise the risks that simply come through being alive. And that is a good thing. But when fear becomes our prison and torments our spirits and minds, we need to be released. Now, last year I did my first ever scary escape room with friends in Brickhouse. It was genuinely one of the most terrifying evenings of my life, and I think many of my friends who were there would agree. Now, of course, we were never in danger, and we knew that. It was all clever acting, a theatrical atmosphere, and mind games. But still, the fear felt so very real. Today we live with that positive fear which keeps us safe. But what damaging fears are you living with that are imprisoning you? Is it the fear of what others think? Is it the fear of never being good enough? Is it the fear that everything is going to end in disaster? The truth is that what others think of you doesn't define who you are. God has already done that, and he defines you as fearfully and wonderfully made. Another truth is you are never ever going to be perfect. You are never going to score 100% in being the ideal human. But God says, my power is made perfect in weakness. And a final truth, the future may not play out as we would choose. But when we choose to place our trust in Jesus, eternity will play out in a more incredible way than we could ever imagine. In the film The Shawshank Redemption, which tells the story of the search for freedom for prisoner Andy Dufresne, we hear these words: "Fear can hold you prisoner. Hope can set you free." Now, maybe you've got this all sorted. Maybe you feel as free as a bird. But maybe, like me, you need a reminder today that whatever the physical restrictions placed upon you, and whatever that is imprisoning your mind, we can be set free because of hope. Hope that now is not forever. Hope that Jesus is alive. And hope that we have been set free through the life, death, and resurrection of Christ. John chapter 8 verse 36 tells us, "So if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed." May you know the power and joy of that freedom today. I want to leave with you some words from a beautiful song called No Longer Slaves. You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. We've been liberated from our bondage. We're the sons and the daughters. Let us sing our freedom. You split the sea so I could walk right through it. My fears are drowned in perfect love. You rescued me, and I will stand and sing. I am a child of God. I pray today that you will be able to declare, I'm no longer a slave to fear, for I am a child of God. For that is who you are. Be free today. God bless you.